3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our Sunday Q&A. It's a rainy Friday when we're filming this, but yes, we brought you another car video here. It's just so convenient.
The rolling show.
The rolling show strikes again. But so let's get right into the comments here. The first comment comes from Reality 1984. And this is a really nice comment, and this is why I put it first. And I know that you're going to enjoy this one. So he says, "Hi guys, it's a pleasure to see a father and son team working together and getting along so well. I also get to work with my son on a daily basis, and I consider it a privilege."
It is absolutely a privilege for my son to work with me. Let me just say that right now. It is my honor. I know my dad would have loved if him and I could have worked together.
Yeah.
That never came to be, but I loving every day working with my son. Thank you.
Yes, it is an honor. I think a privilege for both of us to work with each other, but getting along so well. You guys see the 30 minutes that we have on screen here, and we do get along pretty well.
We edit out all the yelling at each other.
Yeah. Maybe end of the year we'll put in the compilation of the behind the scenes of our videos when we're not getting along so well. But yeah, no, thank you. We appreciate the comment a lot, and we're glad that you're able to experience the same thing with your son. So thanks for that. Next comment here comes from Fozzie6477, and Fozzie says, "LOL, condo fees as home expense? That's such a realtor thing to say. You can negotiate or manage your home expenses. You cannot negotiate condo fees, can you? Condo corporations are a scam and running by corrupt folks."
Look, there's some element of truth to what you're saying there, but it's not everywhere all the time, and it's not every condo board that is ill-managed and cheating the system. Some have been caught, others are doing it, not been caught, and others are running smoothly with no issues, and everything is as it's supposed to be. And as far as a realtor thing to say, I have a feeling no matter what we say, there's people out there that are going to just chalk it up to something a realtor would say.
Yeah.
We can't win on that.
Can't get around that. You cannot get around that. But, okay, so next comment here comes from, I'm probably going to butcher this name, but Noir Enage. And they say, "Comparing only the closing prices of properties month to month can create a misleading impression of market stability. To get a clearer picture of what trends, it's essential to also analyze the original listing prices and how they evolve relative to closing prices. This comparison reveals shifts in buyer and seller expectations, which are crucial for understanding the real dynamics of the market."
Yes, and
there are a lot of homes listed at $1.
Yeah, look, there's no foolproof where one data set is perfect without flaws and gives you everything you need to know. However, comparing what you're suggesting, in my opinion, comparing list price to sold price is probably one of the what's the word I'm looking for here? Probably one of the worst ways of looking at things. A home will be listed 10 times, each time dropping the price by $50,000, and finally it sells because they've dropped the price so low. It sells for $10,000 over asking, and it's like, hey, sold over list price, but they've come down $300,000 from their original time that they tried. So it's a metric that has a lot of flaws.
Yeah.
The way you're suggesting we look at it.
Well, that's the thing now too, especially with when we're pricing homes now, when things aren't necessarily moving quickly. You'll get a home listed at $1.5 million. Then they drop it down to $9.99 and then they sell for 1.3, right?
Right.
And so it's like, how would that give you any indication really of what's going on? Plus, you also have to keep in mind too that each week, like right now, let's say there's over 100 sales in just the Toronto detached. Like when we're pulling out all this data, it's like, we have like 1,000, usually about 1,000 different properties that we're going through price wise.
Different data sets.
And then in order to go through every single property and figure out, what it was listed for before. And, a lot of these homes have been listed 3-4 times. So it was just it doesn't really make too much sense. I think if you're doing it in a more, let's say for a specific property that you're looking at. So let's say your client says, okay, I want to buy this house, right? Then you look at the few houses kind of in that area and you can kind of get a better idea.
We're looking at 3 or 4 or 5 properties, and we could look at the whole history. And same thing when somebody's looking to sell and says, what do you think my home sells for? How long do you think it's going to be on the market for? We could show them by analyzing the real history of all the other properties in their neighborhood. We can't do it on a mass scale like we do for the show.
I think that, it would be helpful in those cases. But for what we're doing, trying to show you trends on a weekly basis for the areas that we cover, it would be just way too much work, way too time consuming. We'd be putting out a video once a month to get those things done.
That's right.
But so I just talked about the areas we cover, and this leads directly into the next question, which is from Milorad Rabasovic. Milorad Rabasovic, or Milo. One of the two.
Question or comment, please.
But they say, why are you always missing Oakville? You always mention Hamilton or Georgetown, but not Oakville.
Oakville, where's that?
Where's that?
I'm kidding. Don't get mad. We're not missing Oakville.
But you're also not mentioning Hamilton and Georgetown.
I mentioned as far as, the further out suburbs kind of last time. And I went from Mississauga and I went straight to Hamilton. Oakville, Burlington, it's still, relatively close along the QEW. And it was just, I was just making a point. And then I'd said the further out suburbs like Hamilton and Barrie. And somebody commented, Hamilton is not...
Hamiltonians will disagree with calling it a suburb of Toronto.
So let's make a point of really focusing on Oakville a little bit more. How's that?
Yes.
Okay,
so next comment here comes from Bob Smith.
And I wonder if Bob Smith lives in Oakville.
Maybe he does.
Oakville.
Maybe he does. But Bob Smith says, love the informative videos. Keep up the great work. Wonder what happens to the value of these tiny new condos as they age. 10 years, ? Depreciating asset, ?
Are these condos they're talking about in Oakville?
It's specifically new construction is in Oakville.
I think we've hit the quota for Oakville already, saying Oakville over and over. What's going to happen to these in 10 years? How do I answer that? I mean, it's all got to do with public sentiment. And right now, the focus is away from these tiny, newer condos. But there are a ton more coming online and that are going to close 2025 and 2026. So will buyers' sentiment towards it, attitudes towards it change? I don't know. What's going to happen to them? At some point, if they're not selling, price is going to end up moving. Price, if it moves down enough, I can guarantee people are going to buy. Maybe as investors come back online, maybe as first-time home buyers see it as an entry point. And right now, they're looking at others, more space. But at the right price, I guarantee you, people will jump on board.
Well, I'm also curious. I think, they're talking about a 10-year, what's the 10-year projection for these new condos? But in the years coming up, I'm curious to see if what's happening right now with these tiny condos and the attitude, the buyer sentiment towards these tiny condos, if that actually has a change in terms of the product that gets put out later on, right?
Well, I believe builders are already looking at that.
Yeah.
But if investors jump back on board, builders are going to go for the path of least resistance.
Yeah,
and
of course.
They're going to follow the money, and, whoever is their client, that's who they're going to cater to.
Yeah. Okay, so next comment here comes from Dirty Burger.
Dirty
Burger is one of the OGs.
He's an OG for sure.
So he says, thanks, boys. Are you guys seeing any investors / landlords looking to buy?
I've had a few more inquiries.
Yeah.
Now that rates are down a bit, but rents have also come down a bit. So it's tough to say. I've not really seen it in the market in a big way, but that's just us and our business.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if others have, but it's still not really geared towards the investor because prices really, they're still elevated. And yes, interest rates have come down, so carrying costs are a little bit better, more favorable, but rents have also come down.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of look at that situation. So no, not in a big way, but I have had some more inquiries and people thinking about, is it making sense now?
Yeah. Okay, so next comment here comes from RF McKean. And RF McKean says, do developers guarantee lower fees for a certain period? If so, the fees can be used as a marketing cost that may mask the true cost of maintaining the building post-guarantee. Excellent point about square foot appearance versus what the numbers mean.
Builders will do all sorts of, they've come up with clever ways to incentivize for you to buy their project versus the neighboring project. And one way has been with guaranteeing maintenance fees for a year or 2 years. They'll guarantee that this is what it's going to stay at.
Well, there's some of them that'll actually include it.
They'll cover it. They'll say no maintenance fees. They'll also, we were talking about the other day, that project that was saying, they'll guarantee rent for a couple of years, and we've seen that a few times also. So they'll do all sorts of things, and it'll be chalked up to a marketing expense or however they structure it so they lose as little as possible.
Yeah. Okay, so next comment here comes from Simrat Pal Singh. And they say, some home inspectors try to play tough because if they be easy with their inspections, their clients would think the inspector is not looking at things carefully. Sometimes they just make up huge deal of small issues and put a doubt in buyer's mind about the quality of the property. These idiotic behavior by the home inspector can really mess up the deals.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Some home inspectors.
Well, sorry, just before you get into that, the one that we were speaking about in our video for where this comment came up, like there was a home inspection that we did with our buyers. That was like our home inspector is not like that.
Our home inspector, the guy we refer, is awesome and very professional, and he basically will comment. Sorry, did you want me to turn here?
Oh, sorry. No, it's not this street. It was the next one then.
Okay. Sorry, folks. This is a live show, right? So our home inspector will comment on condition, give possible solutions. It's not up to him to say, buy the house, don't buy the house. But we'll say, here's what he sees is going on with the house. I've been involved where another home inspector that was not somebody that we had worked with before, going back a few years now, where we were actually, the buyers showed up with somebody that was recommended to them by somebody in their family. And this guy was like everything was a nightmare. The house was in decent condition, but everything, like the caulking around the window was like, if you don't do this now, you know, your windows are going to fall out, and like, just, it was just so bad.
Yeah.
And then that deal didn't go through. Another buyers came in, put a home inspection condition, and everything was fine. Some home inspectors really feel like they have to find stuff. And you know what? Every single home, even if it's brand new, there's stuff the home inspector is going to find.
A lot of times more when it's brand new now.
Sometimes more when it's brand new. The question is it something that is, you know, serious, or is it part of normal wear and tear that, you know, is you know, is it structural? Is it, there's all sorts of issues that we look at, and that's part of the home inspector's job.
Yeah. And so this leads into the next comment we have from Aaron.
Is this the home inspecting show?
It's turning into it. I guess a lot of the questions I picked today are geared towards home inspections. But Aaron Shi, I believe, says the average home buyer that's got no clue about renos can be easily fooled by a good finisher and fresh coat of paint.
True.
To be fair, the seller might not also know their issues and thought, oh, I don't need a permit to remove this wall because the contractor said it's okay. But in the but in the statement is your contractor is not a structural engineer, and neither is the home inspector. How did he determine there were structural issues? Was someone completely off level or shifts in the foundation? So with regards to that particular video, yeah.
So I remember the video.
Mm-hmm.
So the home inspector is not a structural engineer. You're correct. They're also not a certified electrician. They are also not a certified plumber, and the list goes on. However, they have to have enough knowledge, training, and experience to point out potential issues, not necessarily nail the issue, but know enough that a further inspection may be necessary by a qualified inspector. And that's what happened in this home. The home in question that we're talking about, the door frames were off. At one point, these doors, we assume, were closing properly. They're now not closing properly. And the basement was unfinished, and he noticed some issues the way the joists were sitting on the foundation.
Or floating on the
foundation. They were kind of floating on the foundation. And so he flagged that as a potential issue where a structural engineer would need to be brought in. So that was his job. He wasn't saying this is exactly what's wrong, just hey, there's something wrong here and you should look into this further. He's not commenting on, you know, beyond that. So yeah, but you're right also. The contractor is not a structural engineer, but if it's a good contractor, they know that permits need to be pulled, and they know that you know, an engineer has to tell them the type of beam, the thickness of the beam that needs to be installed, and that needs to be ordered. Did we get this question? Did we answer it?
Yeah,
fully?
I think you nailed it there. Okay, so last home inspection related question here. Is the listing agent, this is from Michael Schroeder, and Michael Schroeder says, is the listing agent required to disclose the issues stated in the inspector's report to any future potential buyers? I would think that at least any major issues reported.
If they now are, well, depends on the issue we're talking about. If it's through a normal home inspection or normal walkthrough, you're able to uncover the deficiency, we'll say, then no, it doesn't need to be disclosed. But if it's the type of home, the type of deficiency that's not easily noticed, and now the listing agent and the seller are aware, then yeah, they would be entitled to disclose or fix it. If they fixed it, they don't need to disclose it because the problem doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But if they're not going to fix it, they should be disclosing that information.
Yeah. Okay. Next comment comes from Opinionated363. And Opinionated says, I am wondering how maintenance fees are determined in a brand new condo where not all condos are closed. Does that happen? For example, if some speculators bought pre-construction and are not able to close, or if some condos are not finished. So let's just go with the first part, which is I'm wondering how condo fees are determined in a brand new condo where not all condos are closed.
Well, there's many condos, the majority of condos, when you take possession, you're not actually closing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the occupancy phase of the building, and so in your occupancy monthly fee, which is extremely high, in that fee there's a maintenance component, and they guess at it. They estimate what it's going to be, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it, and you got to take it. You got no choice. You can't renegotiate. You can't.
Yeah.
No, you just got to accept it, and they estimate what it's going to be, and that's it.
Yeah, well, they look at all the costs for, what it's going to cost to run it, and then they make a decision based on that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, so last comment here comes from Alil2005, and Alil says, you guys are cool. All comments are either positive or constructive. Good effort and content again.
We are cool.
Yes,
you get that?
we are cool.
Oh, sorry, did I hit
the
microphone there? Thank you for that great comment.
Yes.
Keep them coming. We like those ones.
We really actually do. It brightens up our day, especially on a day like this. So thank you guys again for all your comments. If you want to be featured in this video, leave your comments under this video. When I pick the comments, I go to this video first.
Do you?
Yeah, I go to this video and then I go through the market report videos and see which comments.
So you don't listen to my advice then when I say just pick the easy one?
Yeah, no.
No? Okay.
I picked the ones I think might be fun. But yes, so leave your comments in this video, comments throughout the week, and maybe you'll be featured in next week's video. Thank you guys again for watching. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next week.
Have an awesome weekend.
Oh, not next week. We'll see you in a couple days.
We'll see you in a couple days.
See you in a couple days. Have a good weekend. Thanks.
Bye-bye, guys.